You are listening to This is Oklahoma, hosted by Mike Hearn, telling stories of Oklahomans and those that have made it their home.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma podcast. Mike Hearn here, your host, back with another episode. Excited to share this episode with you today, but before we do, I've got to thank our sponsors. First of all, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. They've been a huge part of this podcast for the last few years. So the Oklahoma Hall of Fame have been sharing Oklahoma's story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com. And for daily updates, go to oklahomahof on Instagram and give them a follow. Our other sponsor today is the Chickasaw Nation. Now, the Chickasaw Nation have sponsored pretty much everything in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and it's an honor to have their name and their brand supporting this podcast. So a huge shout out to Governor Anatoby for supporting this podcast. It really means a lot. Our third sponsor is Diffie Ford Lincoln down in El Reno. Now, this one makes me so happy because these guys are great friends of mine, play a lot of golf together. I've bought my cars from them, do most of my oil changes down there, have a cup of coffee, hang out down in El Reno. It's a good spot to go. And not only are they great friends, but they provide a great service. So for over 60 years, third generation family owned Oklahoma business down in El Reno. They're also in Bethany as well. So people in the Bethany area know the Diffies really well. But if you're looking for anything new, used, Ford, Lincoln, or whatever, I'm sure they could find anything you want. Check them out, diffieford.net, and then on Instagram at diffiefordlincoln. This episode is brought to you by the Doghouse OKC. Recently, I have been in need of some doggy daycare for my two pups, and the Doghouse have come in clutch. The team over there are incredible. They've taken care of my two golden doodles, and so it's been an honor to partner with them on the podcast and share the love. And the one thing that I do with the sponsors that I have is stuff that I use and recommend, like the Diffies with my car, Hall of Fame. They're awesome. Citizens Banks, where I bank. Chickasaw Nation, huge supporter of Oklahoma. And adding to that is the Doghouse. And so if you're in need of doggy daycare in the day or boarding overnight, they do grooming and other cool things too. But I've had a fantastic experience, and it's an honor and a privilege to share this with you too. So go to thedogHouseOKC.com and follow them on Instagram at thedogHouseOKC. And hopefully our pups will run into each other. This episode is brought to you by the Oklahoma State Treasurer Unclaimed Property Division. Oklahoma has more than $1 billion of unclaimed property. Reclaim what's rightfully yours. Visit YourMoney.ok.gov and enter your name to find out if you have lost money from utility deposits, uncashed checks, life insurance policies, or more. If you've got a minute, search for free and visit YourMoney.ok.gov.
Dust the red dirt off your boots and get all your rowdy friends together. Born and Raised Music Festival is back for one hell of a weekend. September 13th through 15th, 2024 in Pryor, Oklahoma. Featuring Cody Johnson, Hank Williams Jr.,
All my rowdy friends are coming over tonight.
Co Wetzel, plus Midland, Dwight Yoakam, the Red Clay Strays, and many more. Weekend, single day, and camping passes on sale now at bornandraisedfestival.com.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma. Mike Hearn here, your host, back with another episode. We are here at a wonderful new studio, Rose Records in the Britain District. Taylor Moore's on the ones and twos. Thank you so much. Appreciate you having us. First, I'm going to introduce my co-host. Some of you will know my co-host. He's very famous in the basketball world and has some takes on Thunder basketball, and he's a Dallas Mavs fan, but he's coming around to being an Oklahoma City Thunder fan. Mr. Jason Gallagher.
Yeah, I'm definitely like emotionally cheating on the Mavericks right now. It's fine. Co-host. I feel like it's more of like a
Friendship.
No, just like a back of the couch kind of guy.
Okay.
Andy Richter.
That's the role you want to play.
Yeah, that's what I want to be.
Okay. All right. Well, this is the first show you're ever co-hosting, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
You're on probation, I guess, on trial. But we're in the company of greatness today. We have an Olympian with us, high jumper. Vernon, thanks so much for coming in today.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, looking forward to diving in. I think I really looking back when I was in the UK, the Olympics was in London. I was home that summer and we really didn't care about it. But I look back and I wish I should have just gone up, right? It's 2 hours away. I should have gone. And then seeing it in Paris and seeing national pride and all these countries walking around and having a little more context of the events that are going on and just knowing some people that were there. I'm like, I mean, that's nothing better than representing your country around the world, which is something you've done for some time now. And I heard in a previous interview, you were, I think when you were in high school, and the interviewer said something about, is the Olympics ever a thing for you? And you're like, oh yeah, that's like the pinnacle of sport. So we'll get into all that, but I want to talk about just kind of your Oklahoma story. I mean, you weren't born here, but you moved here, came to high school in Yukon. What's like some of your first memories of Oklahoma?
I think my biggest memory is just like my friend group. Whenever I met them, like, because whenever I first moved to Oklahoma, I was going back and forth because my dad still lives there. So I went back and forth for a while, but I think my like core memories are just the kids I met whenever I first got here. Like we're still friends to this day. It's crazy because my best friend now that I met in college, who's my roommate, he does my tattoos. His sister is a twin, and she's actually dating like my best friend from my childhood. So I think just being around that group of guys and growing up together and just getting to see each other grow and see where we end up in life and just the different stories we all have together.
How old were you when you came here?
Like 10.
Yeah, Yukon's quite a big kind of high school too, right?
It's gotten a lot bigger. I'll never forget whenever I first came here, I was like the only black kid in my school. I was
That doesn't surprise me in Yukon back in the day either.
But I mean, Yukon's always made me feel like home. It's a nice place. It's definitely a nice area, and they just keep getting bigger and bigger.
It's huge now. Yeah. Jason probably feels like that too, coming into town. Like, I don't know this place.
I've never been to Yukon.
Yeah. You'd love it. It was in the Twister movie. There was a few scenes in the Twister movie.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Have you seen the movie yet?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
They got did you see, I don't know if you guys, not to sidebar it, but did you see the viral tweet that was like Glenn Powell is now like an A-lister, unlike Ryan Gosling, and Glenn Powell was like, don't you put down Ryan Gosling like that. So I appreciate Glenn Powell, and I appreciate Twisters and Yukon.
And Yukon, it's great. It's a great town. That's where my address is too. So I'm that side. But
Wait, really?
I'm the Oklahoma City side of the turnpike. So I'm not really I'm not like true Yukon. But yeah, I have a 73099 zip. So
Okay.
that's close enough. So growing up, good friend group. Sounds like you're into sports a lot growing up as well. And I know when we talked previously, like basketball was like a huge thing for you.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your athletics journey and the sports you played growing up, what you kind of dreamt of as a kid, where did you want to go, and who your idols were.
So I used to tell my mom I was gonna play basketball at Kansas throughout like my whole childhood, but I played baseball, football, soccer, anything. I was good at everything. I mean, I wanted to try everything. I even played soccer so that I could be better at basketball. And I think I traveled. I played basketball for a while. I was close with Trey Young in high school. Talked to his dad like 3 weeks ago, so that's one of my guys. I think my junior or sophomore year of high school, I won state, and I jumped like 6'8" in my sophomore year, or my sophomore year. My junior year, I came back, I jumped 7'4". So it was like that when I was like, okay, basketball isn't really a thing anymore, and it was kind of like heartbreaking a little bit, but I knew I wasn't going to NBA, or I didn't think I was anyways. So I guess we'll never know. But it was just like it was a better decision for me to go with track, but. I mean, my basketball coach, my freshman year, was the one that got me into track. He told me, he was like, if you don't jump for me, you can't play basketball for me. And we had that relationship where he was tough on me, but like he was joking with me, but he was serious. So and he moved from Tulsa Union, and just him taking me out there, and he actually brought me out to long jump, and it was okay. But I remember my first meet, I went like 5'2", and that's not good. Like you do that in middle school. So I jumped that, and then ended up getting a little bit better, and he was a geometry teacher, and he still teaches. I still talk to him to this day. He still coaches. But if it wasn't for him and like the way that he used his math, I probably would never be as good as I am. Like I had the ability, but I didn't know what to do. So I'm grateful for him to definitely be a part of my journey. Because if he never came to Yukon, I wouldn't even ever have went to the track. So I probably would be playing basketball somewhere. I'd be done now, or whatever the case may be. But he's a big reason as to why I am where I am today.
I love that.
You ever try triple jump?
I can't. My knees are messed up. I try we do like triple jump drills like at practice, and like it's decent, but it's like coming full speed's a different story, and all their knees be messed up. I don't even want to try it.
Yeah,
it's too much impact. That double.
So I did track and field, not as well as you, but we were a really good district.
Yeah.
We had like the #2 high jumper in the nation at the time. Really good 800 runner, really good 400 runner. Guy who won like 2 gold. Like it was our track meets were like fun.
Yeah.
And I tried triple jump, and the coach was like, wow, like you got the rhythm really quickly. Do you want to help coach? And I was like, well, no, I'm trying out for triple jump. He's like, no, totally. Do you want to help coach? And I was like, all right, well, just stick to my 2-mile runs. So
Yeah, I was telling Vernon earlier about your mile challenge that you want to set
I just
up.
want to see how fast I can run a mile.
You can run.
I want like a bunch of the washed dads in my group to just
try to do it.
race a mile.
I can't run a mile. I tried to play basketball yesterday for the first time. I woke up, my back was hurting, my legs hurt. I haven't done anything since I got back from the Olympics.
It's tough, man. I played basketball yesterday too. It wasn't pretty.
You do not want to see me. He texted me a few weeks ago. Hey, you ever play like rec league basketball? Like, you do not want me to be in that.
You should get into it.
I mean, I'm like have a span. I could probably be good on defense, but as far as shooting, I mean, that is ugly.
Rebounding.
Yeah, defense main thing.
I don't have
Block
I don't have
shots.
height either. I can't jump. I'm like I would be interested to see what my vertical is. It's not good. I play golf. I'll stick to golf.
I've been trying that a little bit. Not very good at it at all.
That's all right.
At
it's
all.
Fun to get out. So he obviously coach is a huge kind of pivotal moment in your life. Like when you talk about geometry, him using geometry. Dive into that for me, because there's a lot of people listening that might want to nerd out on this, especially coaches, leadership, but also kids listening. They just want to get a little bit better, and obviously jumping is going to help them in basketball too, not just track and field. But
so the way that it works is like high jump is like it's specific to your body. Like not everybody jumps the same. Like some people are power jumpers, some people are speed jumpers, some people are both. And your approach. So me personally, I'll talk about me. In high school, I took 10 steps, and my first 5 are straight, and then your next 5 are on the curve, and you have a radius of what that curve is going to look like, and it's up for like most coaches. Some know, some don't. Some know how to get the radius, some don't. And I think him being a geometry teacher made it easier for me to run my exact curve. So he like scanned my body basically and figured out the numbers that would work for me, and that's what stuck. And I think that's what made me an elite jumper. And even coming to college and seeing like different ways that some coaches try to do things. I mean, I see good strategies, but I've never seen any as good as what he does. And he speaks a lot about like at the Oklahoma like conventions for coaches and track and field, and he tries to put it out there. But I think that's the biggest thing, because a lot of people may guess, or they may be running the curve and they're jumping good, but they could be jumping better. And I think that's the thing. And for me, I'm a speed and power jumper, so I need to bring a lot of speed. And when I put my foot in the ground, I'm pretty strong, so I can get up and over. But I think him transitioning from him to my college coach was like, it was smooth, because they both kind of use the same techniques and how you figured out your approach and how you made it work for you. And I just think with high jump as a whole, there's a lot of guessing in it and not necessarily like a lot of knowledge. And some people like there's a coach from K-State, and he's a good guy. He's Revelto. He coached Olympic high jumper Eric Kennard, and he was like, he's one of the smarter guys in track and field. And a lot of people take his philosophy. Some people think it doesn't work. Some people think it does work. But just talking to Eric and just kind of knowing kind of what it looks like. And even there's a Shelby McEwen. He just got second at the Olympics, and his coach was coached by the K-State coach. So just their philosophy and kind of how it works. Most people think the closer you come in, the tighter curve you're running. But in reality, the closer you come in, the wider your radius is. So it's just more force you're putting into the ground. And that's why a lot of people jump higher that are in, but that's like kind of the American way, if that makes sense. Because Europeans, like, for example, I'm at 12 feet. Like, I'm 12 feet from the bar, and Europeans would be like 14 or 15. So it's just like you have your American way and then you have your European way, and you just have to figure out what works for you. And I think a lot of people get caught up on Revelto's ways, and they misinterpret what he's trying to say. And I think that's kind of a struggle that a lot of people deal with.
How old were you when you made that transition to go into high jumping in high school?
My freshman year, I did them both.
Okay.
But I was traveling for basketball. Like I was on like the Adidas Gauntlet, so I played with we were the Oklahoma Wizards, and we traveled all over the place to play. And I remember we had just got back from nationals in Vegas. My sophomore year. I just got back from nationals in Vegas, and state was like the next day, and I hadn't had any meets. But coach was like, "You come jump," and I ended up jumping and winning. And I think when I did that, he was kind of like, "Okay, we're gonna try to take this seriously." And I was in sprint spikes, like high jumping. I jumped like 6'8" in sprint spikes. So the next season he brought me back. He was like, "You need to get some high jump spikes." So I got the spikes, and throughout the season, it was just kind of working on the little things and just figuring out what high jump was for me because I didn't know a lot. I even when I was jumping 7'4" or 7'6" in high school, I didn't know like
It's crazy,
like I'm
right?
jumping high, but like I didn't know what it meant. Like I'm not from Texas. Like Texas is like like I don't
Yeah.
know AAU track. I don't know anything like that.
Yeah.
Like I see my name on the top of like a list in the world or wherever you want to like the country, and it's just like yeah, that's cool, but like in reality, it never like sunk in what I was
Yeah.
doing. So I think just transitioning from that sophomore season into my junior season, that's really what made me a high jumper because I've improved like 6 inches that year, 6.5 inches. So I think just that transition mentally prepared me. I was like, yeah, basketball is cool, but I don't know how much I want to do it anymore. And I wasn't even gonna play my senior year, but that same coach was like, no, just play. Like it keeps you athletic, and I'm sure he didn't want me sitting around not doing nothing. So that that's the main thing I think was my sophomore year that changed my career.
Yeah. You set a national record, right, in high
Yeah,
school?
7'6". That's
Dude,
I would have won every college division that year. I would have made the team that year. I would have anything. I was like Eric was the only guy that jumped higher than me that
Yeah.
year in America, anyways. So it was, but I had no idea. Like, and I was over. It's 233. It's 7'7" and 3/4. There's a video on YouTube. You can look it up. After I jumped 7'6", I went to go jump 7'7", and as I'm going over the bar, I like hit the mat and I'm like rolling to stand up, and as I'm like rolling to stand up, the bar falls,
uh,
and it was just like that. That's why my freshman year of college, like I was at Arkansas and I jumped like this was like my second meet in college, I think, and I jumped like 7'5" or 7'4", and I won the meet. And I walk over to my coach, and this is my college coach. I walk over to him like, we're going 233, and he's like, no, we're not. We're going 230. So we're like arguing back and forth for a second. The lady like starts waving me over to tell her what I want to jump. So I go over there and I tell her I'm like 233, and I just look at coach. And he looks at me. He's like
Yeah.
we're
That's
gonna
what
go
you're
for
gonna
it.
do, yeah.
So he just screams at me. He's like, stay tall and just run. And I cleared on like my first attempt, and I was just like, that was like the pinnacle of that year. I was like, oh my God, I finally did it. Because I had been chasing that for like, what, 2 years at that point. So I think that was a big major like highlight of my career. But it was just funny because we were arguing about it before
Yeah.
I did it. So
Well, sometimes right? And I think we've all probably come close to that moment, whether it's in sports or in business or whatever. You just have that feeling, you're like,
yeah.
today is the day,
Hmm.
right? And you also have days where you're like, I do not have it today,
Yeah.
yeah.
and those are some of the, the better you are on your bad days is what kind of makes people great, right? It's because people can have a bad game and still win, or a bad day and still win. Talk a little bit about kind of like the process then of going into, when you're in your process of running up to the bar and mindset, and everyone gets everyone to clap and all that thing. And I mean, what's
So
going through your head?
So I think for me, we all have like our little things that we do. We have like our world athletic profiles, and it'll say like what you do. So for me, my thing is I always like when the bar gets to a certain height, or whenever I'm like kind of just trying to lock in, I'll walk up to the bar before I jump and I'll look at it. And then I'll go back and I'll just prepare myself and I just try to relax. Cause sometimes like the crowd, especially with the clap, it can get you going like way faster than you want to go. And you have a rhythm that you want to stick to. Everyone has their own, it's different for everybody, but I think for me, it's just trying to clear my mind and stay calm. And I think something that I focus on, like as a jumper, is it's like I'm here for a reason, especially on the track. Like I'm here for a reason. Like I always go out there. There's not two people here better than me, and that's always my mindset whenever I'm jumping. So I just try to focus on clearing the next bar. I mean, because if we're all jumping, I can't control if you guys cleared or not. There's literally nothing I could do. There's no defense. There's nothing. So it's
Probably not
just
going to clear it.
like
Just a heads up. Yeah.
it's you against the bar. I mean, we're
Yeah.
all doing the same
Yeah.
thing, and obviously at the end somebody's gonna be the best one. But I think for me, I just try to focus on myself and just focus on the next bar.
Mm.
I think that's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah.
Crazy.
What's going through your head right now?
Just so much. Just so many flashbacks because, like I said, we had a really great district in Texas in the sort of the Dallas area, and there was a guy on our team. His name was Jeff Lindsay, and it obviously not as good, but he was chasing 7.2
Yeah.
like all through high school. Like he had cleared 7.1 whatever, like his sophomore year, and then it wasn't until like the second to last meet. It's just like so fascinating to such a small just so small of a length
Yeah.
can like, I mean, that he was just like, it messed him up.
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny is he cleared it senior year, went to Oregon, and he never got there again. And I just am like, the mental of that, like, I would love to hear about, like, was it hard when you said that was a goal of yours? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, how do you even approach that goal? Like, does it keep you up at night? Like,
I think so. Once I hit the mat and I fell, and like I knew, like I cleared it. Like, and when you see the video, you'll see it. I was over it by a couple inches. Like, and I think like after I knew I could do it, but I didn't do it, especially like in high school, I'm like, cause I could have went pro. Like I still could have went pro like in high school, but that definitely would have like I definitely wouldn't have went to college. And I think that, yeah, like I think that it messed with me. Every time I got on the track, like I was just pissed off. Like I didn't care about the little heights. Like if you look at my progressions, it'd be like 220. I go 220, I go straight to 7.7. Like I just didn't care. Like I wanted to clear it so bad. But I think the downfall of that is I was so focused on 233 that after I cleared it, the next bar I couldn't even like there's no mental preparation for
it
it.
was like your final boss in a video game.
It's like I've never been there, so it's like I've never jumped this and I've never even thought about jumping it. So that was something I had to train my mind of like, okay, you cleared this, now you have to clear this. So I think just like instead of setting a goal for a certain thing after that, I learned my lesson is just try to jump as high as you possibly can and not put like a limit on it.
Yeah.
Because I screwed myself up with that one. Because after I went 233, it was like, I think about 235. I'm like, damn, that's high. Like I'm not, even when I walk up to the bar and I look at certain bars, like I could look at 233 and just be like, they're not that high. But 235 is what, a quarter inch higher. And it's like, oh shit, that's up there. So it's just I had to teach myself to like not do that, just to go up and just be like, I could clear it instead of focusing on the height. So a lot of the times, so I don't tell a lot of people this. For my first couple of years of college, like I didn't even bother to learn the meters, like the metric system, because I didn't want to know what it was. Like I didn't want to know what I was jumping.
My European head is loving this, by the way.
That's right, folks.
That's right.
Like I didn't
America.
want to know.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't exist. Who cares?
So I would go to jump, and I mean, in my head, I knew that 230, like I knew when you hit 2.3, you're up there. Yeah. So I would always just try to focus on it that way. And then finally, like I was just in it for so long that I just knew, like I started to learn what it was. But for the first couple of years, I would not focus on what it was. Amazing. I didn't care. And I'd look at coach, and coach would be like, don't tell me what it is. Like I don't want to know. So that was something. But now, like it's like I say meters to people from like America, and they're like, "What's that?" Like I'm an inches guy. I'm like, okay,
inches guy.
That's brilliant. So obviously high school, you have this moment, and then all the coaches are just ringing your ears are ringing. You're like, hey, we want you. Obviously, you're not going pro, but you choose to go to OU. Why do you choose to go to OU?
I think just being from Yukon and being able to like jump in my truck and just drive down there. I think that was the easiest thing. And I think this is something I've never said either. So we had a coach, his name was Jim Van Houtigan. He was the former coach of OU, then he went to like Purdue. And I wouldn't take an official visit to OU, like I wouldn't do it. But it was right there. So it was like in my head I knew where I was going. I didn't tell anybody, and yeah, I entertained some coaches, but this coach did not want to offer me. Like OU did not want to give me a scholarship because I wouldn't come on like an official visit with them. And I told like Coach Langley, I'm like, I'm gonna come. But he called me like, I'm talking to all these schools. They're like coming like to Yukon to watch me like jump. They're pulling me out of class. Like I'm getting pulled left and right, like all over the place. And it's just like I can't even keep up. Like I have trash bags. I have like 5 trash bags full of letters, like big hefty bags. And I'm like, I don't know. Like I didn't even think about like what school going for, like talking about Oregon, like what is Oregon? Like I went my junior year, but like I'm not coming over here. This is too far. So my mom being here and my sister went to SWASU to play soccer. So I think OU just being right down the road was just like, it was easy. And I think Coach Langley, like he kind of put the pressure on me because my scholarship was so big once they did offer me. He was like, hey, if you're not going to come, we need to know a little bit earlier than other people so we can split it up for other people. And I mean, I understood that. So, and I liked him. I never met Coach Langley face to face. He's from Atlanta, Georgia. He sounded like a black guy on the phone. So I'm talking to him, and the whole time, then I see him, I'm like, oh, you're white. And my mom did the same thing because he does not sound like that at all. So it was just like one of those things is like, him being my coach, like it couldn't have been like a better like connection there.
Yeah.
Because just going from like my high school coach, that's hard to go from like a coach you're so close with to trying to trust another one. And I think just going with Langley, like that was the best decision I ever made. And then I went to Arkansas for a semester. That's because Jim didn't want to give me like, I jumped my freshman year, and I jumped 233, and Jim was like, "We're gonna give you Baker Mayfield money." And I'm like, "Okay." So like I'm expecting the scholarship all like summer. And granted, my school's paid for. I'm getting a nice check, but I want Baker Mayfield money. You told me I could get it. I
Right.
think I earned it at this point. Like let's see.
Yeah, don't tease me, you know?
So we go all through summer. He's just like, "Yeah, we're gonna give you this. Like we're gonna give you this. We're gonna give you that." Not coming. He's
and
like,
this
"Oh,
is
it's
like
stuck."
NIL stuff?
No, this is just like
Baker,
my
no, this is-
actual
yeah,
scholarship.
Okay.
So he's like, it's in compliance, and compliance always has to sign off on it, make sure
Yeah,
everything's
yeah.
like legal and legit. And it comes down, there's like 2 weeks, no, there's like a month before school starts. And he calls me, or he didn't even call me, he texts me, he's like, "Hey, we're not gonna be able to give you any more money. I give you like $100 extra though." So I'm pissed.
You're like,
So I'm like, you
"Great,
could have just
thanks for
told me
that."
that. Like you could have
Yeah.
just told me.
Yeah,
Right.
he's
I
the
wouldn't
one
have
who
been
said
mad.
Baker
Yeah.
Mayfield.
That's what
Yeah.
exactly. So like I'm not even like, you could have just told me like at the beginning of the year. I didn't even know. I didn't know that the money could even go up that high. So if you would have just told me $100 extra, I'm like, "Oh, thank you." Like
Yeah. Great.
but he does that. So I text him and I'm like, "Hey, like I want to talk to you tomorrow." Next thing I know, like athletic director's calling me. The other athletic directors are calling me. They know, like they know what I'm about to go in there and do. So go in there with a meeting. I have a meeting with like him, and I'm like, basically, you just lied to me. Like, there's no reason. Like, I don't even know you for real like that. Like, you're lying to me for no reason. Like, you didn't even have to. He's like, and all of a sudden, he told me there's no money left. So he goes, that day he has like $5,000, like that was supposed to be for me for my summer school. He's like, "This is the money." Like it was just stuck in compliance. I'm like, "You're lying." Like I called compliance, talked to him. You didn't have any money in there. Then he's like trying to give me the scholarship that he offered me, and it was just like, my mom's looking at me like, "What are you gonna do?" Because like they're offering me everything I want now. I'm just like, I looked at him. I said, "This is a great scholarship, but because of you, I'm not gonna take it. I'm gonna transfer." So he starts like crying. I like slide the paper back out. My mom's pissed. She's like, "There's no way you just walk," because we don't know. She's like, "There's no way you just walk away from all that." You know? So Arkansas ends up calling me. Got a great scholarship. Got a scholarship I wanted at Arkansas. But Coach Geffey, he's a great coach. He coached Tara Woodhull Davis. She just won the gold medal.
Okay.
He coaches like Hibbert. He's a Jamaican. He's there. The group at Arkansas is like phenomenal. There's a lot of medalists, a lot of Bowerman Award winners. Like there's a lot of top talent in the world, not just the country. So went to commit to him, but I didn't know he accepted a job at Tennessee. So I went into Arkansas blind. They didn't tell me anything. He couldn't reach out to me.
Yeah.
So we got a coach from Texas A&M, Mario, and he's a good coach. He used to be a head coach at Texas. He got in trouble for some things, but got it all together. We all make mistakes. He got it together, and he was a good coach. It wasn't like a fit for me. It wasn't like the Langley and the Ritter that I needed, and I wasn't happy. I stayed there for 6 months. Went back to OU because Jim got fired. AD calls me. He's like, "Hey, if I got back in the portal, talked to Langley." AD calls me. I already committed, and I'm like, "Hey, it is what it is. If he stays, he stays. If he doesn't, he doesn't." And AD just telling me he's happy for me to be back. So, and that's what it was. And then we ended up getting Tim Langford. Jim got fired. I loved my life. It was a great time. But I mean, Jim was a great person. He just wasn't the right coach. I don't think he was ready to be the head coach. And Tim, sadly, some things went down with him, and he's not at OU anymore either. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
And he did the right things, and just didn't work out. But he genuinely was a good guy. Like he put his butt on the line for everybody else, and in the end, it was him over everybody else. But I think that he's the one that took OU from a certain point to the next level. And now we got Coach Thomas. He's from Tennessee, and he was at Georgia. He's a head coach. He's a jump specialist, and I told him too I would have liked to be with him and coming out of college, but he was at Texas Tech, and there was no way I was going to Lubbock. There's nothing out there.
Dude, I've
There's
been to
no way.
Lubbock. It's not great.
There's no
No.
way. There's no way.
ever
I
been
was
to
going
Lubbock?
That's
out there.
awful. Yeah.
It's not great.
No.
I mean,
It's
no
nothing you
offense.
want to see.
Driving down there's just
It's in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, middle of nowhere.
But he's got them going on the right path. I mean, he's gonna be a great head coach in
Yeah.
the SEC. He's already been at Georgia. He's got a lot of talent under his belt. So, you know, I always joke with Langley. He's the only guy that's been at OU longer than me because every other coach has been fired or gone. And he's the only one that survived. So
Yeah.
I
When
love
do you
that.
when do you get the call to represent the US? Do you get the call while you're still in college?
okay, so there's a system how this works. Like it's like a point system.
Okay.
So no matter what, well, I guess so height wise, we'll go height. So
Yeah.
for a height, you get let's say you get 1,000 points for going 220.
Okay.
Doesn't matter what meet you're at. You could be at an A meet, B meet, C meet.
And that's like doesn't matter what age
Yeah,
you're
it's
at. That's
just
like high
it's just
school,
across
college,
the
just
board.
wherever
Yeah,
you're
it's
at.
just
Gotcha.
across the board.
Yeah.
You get a certain amount of points for each height, and it's the same no matter what meet you're
Mm-hmm.
in. But what's different is it's like the Diamond League. That's the highest meet. That or like Olympics.
Mhm.
So let's say for a Diamond League meet, me and you go to a meet. We both jump 220. I'm at a Diamond League meet, and you're at a B meet. We both get first place. I'm gonna get like I don't know the exact points, but I'm gonna get like let's say I get 300 points. For we both jump 220, I get 300 points. So instead of my points being so I get 1,000 for 220, and then I get 300 for getting first at a Diamond League. So I get 1,300.
Yeah.
You went to a B meet, you jumped 220. You get 1,000 points for 220, but you got first at a B meet, so you don't get 100 points.
Yeah, so it's based on the overall average
Yeah.
of standard at each
Yep.
event. Yeah.
So you
makes
get
sense. It's the same in
1,100.
the same in the golf world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get 1,300, and it's just the average of your best five.
Yeah.
And that's what's hard. It's hard for college kids to like keep up.
Right.
It's easier for the pros. If you're in the top five, it's really hard to drop out, even if you have a whole season that's bad.
Yeah.
Because once you get into like the worlds and like the Olympic like finals, those points that you get for that, you're not getting caught. You could take a year off and still not drop
So
out.
you're so was there ever a moment where it clicked that was happening?
I think so. What was lucky for me is I had always jumped high, like in high school and college. So like I was always like in like around 25,
Yeah.
no matter what meets I was in. So I think for me that was like the easier thing. But I never knew that it came down to like. Well, I guess it didn't. Like the rules always change with it. So that's the reason. Like for the Olympic call this year, like I knew that I had to like I knew with my points I would get in because if you don't get a standard, it goes straight to points. And there were two guys that got the standard. So obviously they were in, and then I'm the next guy. I'm the next guy up.
Yeah.
And I mean I'm the next PR. Like me and the guy had the same PR. He jumped 236, and I'm proud of him. Like that's a long time coming for him. And then Javon, that was my training partner at LSU this last year. He's phenomenal. Like really. I think that he's leaps and bounds ahead of a lot of people in the track world. He knows it, and so is Shelby. I mean, I think all three of us Americans can do like a really good thing. I think all of us just need to be healthy going into wherever we go. But being the next guy up, it's stressful because when you go in, it's you have to beat somebody. Like when I went to Olympic trials, I knew I didn't care about the final. I didn't care about anything. I knew I had to beat this guy, and he no-hided, and I cleared the bar. So he knew he had to beat me. I knew I had to beat him, and I ended up beating him. And it was kind of after that, like I knew I was going to go to the Olympics as long as no one jumped 233 in the final. So it sucked watching the final because when I'm jumping, it's like I'm not thinking about anybody else. I'm thinking about myself. But just sitting up there watching the final go on, I don't think I've ever sweated so much. Like my heart was like racing, my stomach was hurting. But right after they finished the final, I knew because I know how to do the point system, and I got to. I went through and like looked at like I was on the internet like looking up Japanese to see what the Japanese guys had jumped and like translating everything. So I knew that just the points that they got, there was no way they were gonna get into it. So I actually did team processing that night, and I couldn't like say anything because let's say somebody did like a fluke thing happen or whatever. I didn't want to tell anybody, so I went like a week without saying anything to anybody. And then Eric called me. Like I went out to celebrate the night before because I knew like the rankings had came out at that point, so I could see that I was in. But he just hadn't called me yet. So the next morning, like I'm hungover, and he calls me. He calls me early. I don't even remember.
Where'd you go out?
115 in the city, Oklahoma City. So he calls me. He's like, I don't even remember what he said. Something along the lines of like, congratulations, like you're in, like make the best of it or something like that.
Yeah.
Eric's short and to the point. Just he's a cold cut guy, just straight to the point. Hangs up. I took my phone. I turned it over. I went back to sleep. And I think I called people whenever I woke up, like 3 or 4 hours later. But that was just like coming from like the Olympic like gold medalist, that meant a lot. And I think just knowing that dream of high school finally like was there. Like, and I think because I've been chasing it for so long. Last Olympics, I know heighted I was supposed to go,
Yeah.
and it's hard because a lot of people think in track like you wait 4 years for the Olympics and don't realize like we have meets in between that. So it's hard to just focus on that event whenever it comes around. But I think like last year in Budapest at Worlds, I think everybody knew. Like you could tell the whole like everybody's like attitude and just demeanor changed knowing that we're in an Olympic year now. Because it sucks, but for track, if you don't make the Olympics, it's hard. Like with your sponsors, with getting into meets, all that stuff is hard. I mean, just having like just being able to say you're an Olympian is a big thing for track and field, and it just sucks because I told you on the Instagram Live, we're all over the place. There's some people making millions. There's some people literally paying to go, like paying out of their own pocket to go, like going into debt. So it's hard, and you feel bad for people, but then again, it's like we need more structure because if you're able to say you're a pro and you're not a pro, it makes it harder for all of us because if the guys that are making the millions, if they stop running, then like they're just gonna pick the guys that are down there. So the meets can always make money. It doesn't matter. So it just sucks because if we don't run our contracts, okay, well now you're not getting paid, now you're getting a reduction, this and that. So I think just track needs a structure of how we do things because if it doesn't, like it's never gonna change. And I mean, there's women like Gabby Thomas and other people trying to like I think it's Serena Williams' husband. I don't know if that's positive, but they're putting on like women's meets and they're paying more than like any other meets have ever paid, but it's just women. So, and then you have like Michael Johnson. He's putting on meets, but he's leaving out jumps. So it's hard because a lot of people, it's hard to tell a story with jumps, but as jumpers, we're looking like, nah, we have stories too. Y'all just don't really care about our stories because it takes longer to watch high jump or triple jump or long jump or shot put. I mean, sprint's 10, 9 seconds, so it's quick. Everybody can just watch it. So,
Dude, high jump. That I have like distinct memories of like the entire stadium just getting quiet. Like that is like in terms of like just visceral and sports enjoyment. Even long jump, you kind of have to be like, well, okay, so what did he do? That one, you get the immediate satisfaction of did the friggin' bar stay up or did it not stay up? I love high jump. I have a question about the training though. What everything for me is like compared to basketball. And but in some ways it can apply really well. it can apply to golf a little bit too. With
my pre-shot routine and his mindset before he jumps is what I relate to in golf. Is like that mindset like before I do it I have the same things that I do, right? And so that's what I can relate to. Basketball.
Well, what I was getting at was more like the training. What does like a training session look like? And if you're frustrated, can you like hit the gym? Like what's that look like for you? Is it just you know what I mean? Like what are the like intense training like? And then what are the like training to sort of just make sure you don't like you're just doing the reps?
I think so. Like we have off season and it's kind of hard. Like it's difficult kind of like to say because like I'm done with my season. I just went to the Olympics, but there's people still going. So for me, it's like you're off season, you're hitting it hard. Like you're doing sprints like with the sprinters sometimes. Like I run hills. Like it's heavy on conditioning, heavy on weights. So like in off season, like we're lifting like we're football players almost. Like we're doing like Olympic lifts, but we're lifting heavy. We're trying to put all the muscle on now to kind of decline whenever the season comes around. But I'd say like I'll go to my Arkansas days. Arkansas workout in the off season, first workout whenever I got there was 3100s on the field. And if you didn't make the time, everybody's
What was
restarting.
the time?
It was like 12, 13 seconds. So may have been 13 to 15.
Still,
we'll say that. That was years ago.
30 times.
But you gotta, if everyone doesn't make it, we are all starting over again.
Oh, you're kidding.
So it sucks because if you don't have the same mindset I have, now we're arguing. Now I'm pissed off at you and I gotta run. So it's just things like that. Like we used to do like bear crawls up the hills and it would piss me off because I had never competed in an SEC meet in my life. So I get to the bottom of the hill, like we bear crawl up and then we backpedal down and they're like, this one's for SEC. And I'm like, okay, I'm hyped. Like, yeah, let's do it. I do it. We come back. Okay, now this is really for SECs. We get like 5. I did 5 bear crawls for SECs. And then they just keep going. But it's just like, it's just running. I mean, I do a lot of plyos.
But there's never been like
A workout where I'm just
thinking
like
of,
done.
I'm thinking of like Friday Night Lights where it's like you're so frustrated.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I'm gonna jump until I clear this thing.
I've had that. What was it? My freshman year, I jumped 233, and I was expected to like win nationals or be one of the in contention to run. And there's a guy's name's he's gonna kill me for drawing blank. He's from K State. He's an Indian guy. He's from India. I've known him for a while. His name's TJ Shankar.
Yeah.
And
Shout out TJ.
TJ. Yeah.
he's always like pushed us, but freshman year, like he was a good jumper, and me and a guy named Trey Culver from Texas Tech, they were supposed to be me and him. That's what everybody was, showdown, me and him. Shankar comes and wins at 7'6" as a freshman. I'm pissed. We land back on the plane like that. The next couple of days, I'm in the track with the bar up. I've never jumped 7 foot in practice in my life with the bar up. I'm in the gym just trying to jump. Like I'm in the track just jumping. I'm pissed just listening to music. And I think that was the first time I'd ever really been like mad about track.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've never in high school from junior year to senior, I never lost until I went to the Olympics. I never lost, or the Olympic trials. I never lost until then. So it was like I finally lost when I was supposed to win, and I was like, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
It was just bad. And coach knew I was pissed. Everybody knew I was pissed. I was so mad about that. But it was just trying to learn, like, okay, like these guys are good too. So then I had to learn to like up my game.
What was different then that year that you obviously didn't lose until you went to the Olympic trials? What was different in your mindset? Did you psych yourself out? Or
At
did
the
you just-
Olympics?
at the trials, the one you didn't make?
So I don't know what happened, but Oregon had the worst rain they've had in like 30 years the day we were jumping. There's a picture that my coach from high school has. My mom has it too. And like you see me like get up from the mat, and it literally looks like I just got out of the pool. Like it's just dripping off me. It doesn't look like raindrops. It's like just pouring off of me. So it was just rattled in that moment. We started at like 6:11. I wasn't used to that, and just the rain that mixed with the rain, it's not a good day for me. I think that bar or the next bar were the only thing that qualified you for finals. Like it didn't take much at all. So, and that was the same thing from this year. Like it doesn't really take a lot. It's just a lot of people let the moment be bigger than what it is. Because in college, you go to regionals and you jump the same thing. Like you have to jump. There's 12 people left, and in college, you jump like 221. At the Olympics this year, if you cleared 219 on your first attempt, you got in. Mm-hmm. So it's just that's a thing that a lot of us struggle with, and a lot of people will say they won't, but there's a select few that don't.
Yeah.
But just being able to not let the moment be bigger than what it is, it's the main thing in track.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love that fire. You got to keep that fire. Shows
Yeah.
you care, right?
Definitely. I want to, I don't know if now's a good time to ask about the old Dick Fosbury. Fosbury? Is that his name?
Fosbury.
Fosbury?
I think so.
Something. This guy. I've like read about him for whatever reason. I don't even know why. And then I recently came up because a buddy was like, what do you think of the Fosbury flop during the Olympics? And I was like, I have no takes on it. It made me think of like the way that they used to jump. Have you ever just like messing around, tried any other?
I've like done like a front flip off of like 2 feet.
Yeah.
But, like
the scissors. Have you ever tried the scissors?
Yeah, I can scissor. I've scissored. But you scissor. The way that they used to do it compared to how we do it now is even different. Like they would scissor like going over kind of like forward, like over like their stomach.
Right.
Like we can scissor. I could probably scissor like 6'8", 6'9" on a good day. On a good day.
Dude. Yeah, I think that was like just my general question. If they got rid of it, they said the flop was illegal. Yeah. What would you go with?
I don't know. I'm diving. I'm going to have to like dive.
You're taking off.
You're taking off from 50 feet.
I'm going straight down the middle. Straight down the middle.
I love that.
I couldn't even imagine trying to high jump without going over backwards. But I'm sure when he did it the first time, they probably looked at him like he was crazy.
Yeah. So, for sure. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he was a king. I'm like obsessed with this guy. Like after reading about him, he's like, he was big into politics. He was like, it seemed like an awesome guy. Yeah. But but part of why I brought this up is my buddy and I, Sky, he used to host this sports show. He was like, He firmly believes, and it's like a really weird take because we never talk about high jump, but he firmly believes that there should be multiple versions of high jump. That like swimming, there should be like a breaststroke,
It's a great idea.
whatever, and there should be like a flop jump or back jump, a forward jump. Like he was like coming up with all these things, and I was like, it's really interesting. And then he asked if I want to do this pod, and I was like, "Yep," because I want to ask that.
Because I want to ask that question. I have one question.
I got one question. I'm gonna leave.
I feel like if we had, let's say we had a scissor one.
Yeah. For
a fact, like in Utah's Barshim, he jumped 243 at one point, and he was over the world like record at one point.
Yeah.
He just clipped it on the way down. He can scissor like 7'3". So he's gonna win the high jump, and he's gonna win the scissor. So it's just about hip height. Like, and you don't think about it because your hips have to get up as high as the bar is. Like a lot of people don't think about that. So if you can get your hips over it and like flopping over it, you can scissor pretty close to it. Not 7'8", but you could scissor a lot higher than you think you could.
Well, Fosbury too was a big math guy.
Yeah,
big math guy.
I'm telling you, math is. I messed my approach up whenever I was at LSU, and my high school coach like sent me this piece of paper, and it had like Eric Kennard, like there's a guy named Tim Beery, they had Barshim, he had Javons, he had Shelby, like everybody's radius, and this is just from watching videos. And he sends it to me. He's like has everything mapped out, and like I'm like I can't read this. Like I don't know what you're showing me, but it's radiuses and all types of things, and like pictures of the way that they're running, like their curve, and I'm just like. You know too much.
It's like the Moneyball version of high jump.
Well, right? Exactly. I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan, and Dirk Nowitzki's coach was a guy named Holtz or Gershwind or something, and it was like this old German guy who was Dirk's coach, and it was all computers and like the curvature of whatever, and his warm-up routine, that's why he looked insane in his warm-up routines, because he would have to do these insane workouts based on this crazy math, and he won't go anywhere without this old man and this old coat.
That's how it is. There's a lot of the Germans, like they have older coaches, and like they all do it like so much differently, but they're like, whenever you're from like Europe, what we've learned is like, whatever high jump like approach you have, you start at like 10 and you still have it whenever you're still jumping. So it's like they just drill it in. Like all of them like have old coaches. Like Barshim, for example, I know that he had his coach. His coach was old. I don't know if he still has him now, but he had that coach for years and years and years. It's crazy, like the development that they do. Even China too, like they take their kids and train them in whatever sport they're gonna train, and that's what they do.
Yeah,
it's like for us, we just do it as a hobby on the side.
Well, I mean, with the basketball thing, I was gonna ask you if like more G League basketball players should consider high jump.
There's so many basketball players that could do high jump that don't know that they could do it, because like that's what made it for me. It was like when I go to dunk, like I found myself like. When I go up to run to go dunk, like I almost have like a curve and like I'm like turning sideways. Like my head's at the rim. I'm like, I could do this. But I know some high jumpers, I ain't gonna say names because I don't want to put their workouts out there. But some high jumpers do basketball stuff. Like they'll go on the court and dunk the ball or run their curve. I remember I did in high school because we didn't have an outdoor track. So I'd run on the 3-point line, or he'd give me the ball, I'd go up and I'd dunk it. And it works because a lot of people get stuck trying to like go into the bar. But going up and dunking the ball makes you go straight up and down. So there's definitely a direct correlation between high jumping and basketball.
Should organize a high jump dunk contest.
Yes. We need to have a high jump set.
Shelby McEwen, he just got the silver medal. He's 2014 Jordan Brand dunk contest winner. He jumped from behind the free throw line and dunked it.
That's crazy. All right. So you get the call. You're hungover. You get the call. You're going to the Olympics. I mean, tell me about prep, and then tell me about going to Paris and just mom and dad go with you. Seems like they were over there as well, right? And just to see everything. But yeah, I would love to hear about that experience.
Get the call. I made the decision to move back from LSU, pack my stuff out of Baton Rouge, move to the hills over here in Oklahoma City. Actually, I live like 3 houses down from where Kevin Durant lived whenever he played for the Thunder.
Heard of him.
Random, but made the decision to go back with Coach Langley. Tried LSU for a season, didn't work, but I knew that I wanted to take Langley to the Olympics with me, so I came home, trained for two weeks here, I think, maybe a little longer, but just try to kind of iron some things out, trying to get back to what I did know. I honestly, this last season was probably the worst season I've had, like height-wise. And it's just a struggle because went to a new coach, went to a new environment, just figuring out what works for me and what didn't work for me, and knew once I made the team that Langley was definitely, like, I'd already made the move before I got the call, but knew that I wanted to take him. So we just trained hard, and we people call it two a days, but we just lift in the morning and then I come back a little bit later and I practice. So we did that, prepped out. Then we both went out to, or I went out to Paris a little earlier than him, and then he came. Then my mom, my stepdad came, my sister came, my girlfriend came, my best friend came, him and his family. So we're all out there and just, just you still practice when you're there. You still go through everything you need to do, still lift weights. And then the day comes and it's just, you got to be ready when the moment comes. And what's crazy is they check you out at the village. So like your bag, you got to open your bag. You got to show them you got your jersey, you got your like tights, your spikes, your name, like all of that. And somewhere in the midst of like me trying to help my roommate, like give him like my tights, because he had tights that had like the shorts in them that he didn't want. So I gave him some of mine. I left my tights on my bed. So I get to the thing and I'm looking at Eric and I'm like trying to change. Like we get to the call room, you got to change. I'm looking at Eric, I'm like, I don't have it. I'm just like, damn, like I really got to tell Eric like I don't have this. And I told him, he ain't saying, he just walked away. So I go out there and thank God Shelby was going to give me like his tights that he uses, but he didn't end up having to. But Eric's just in the thing, just waving them at me. He just threw them at me and just walked away.
That's amazing.
But it's just, I think just the prep, like it's the same thing. You just try to have fun. I did all my like touristy stuff kind of before I jumped, and then a little bit after, but not much. But Paris was fun. It's an experience to say the least.
How was the opening ceremony?
That was fun. That was really because that was the first time like the basketball players came around.
That's right.
I'm good friends with Fred Curley. He's a 100-meter runner, and me and him, we're the same. Like we're the same type of we same personality, everything. We're kind of sitting in there, and the basketball players kind of walk in the back, and me and Fred are kind of looking at each other, and everyone's just bombarding. I'm like, me and him are like, I can't be pushing girls out the way to take pictures with Brown and them. So they all get their pictures. We get on the boat. And then finally, I was like, okay, it kind of chilled out. Went and took my pictures and just kind of chopped it up with them a little bit. I ain't never been so nervous to meet LeBron in my life.
Yeah.
I was
stuttering. A lot bigger in person than you think?
Dude.
Yeah, I'd say so. The one that like shocked me with how big they were was Embiid.
Yeah.
He was huge. Bam, they were huge. And the way that the boat was, like, the underneath, like, they're all, like, ducked down, kind of crouched, like, walking through. And Steph was the one that, like, stood out to me because he was, like, basketball players, like, on that end of the boat. And Steph's just, like, on the other side, just doing his own thing. Like, just talking to, like, the other athletes, just not really with the crowd. And I think that's the one that just stuck out because when you talk to him, he's actually, like, having a conversation, not just like a picture, like, walking away. Like, he was actually, like, engaged. So I think that's the thing. We all gave Anthony Edwards hell about high jump and basketball and stuff. So that was funny. You know how he is.
I'm sure he's like, I could win gold tomorrow. Yeah.
So that was fun, and we ended up getting invited to his birthday party. So that was a fun thing to do too, just to get to experience something like that. But the opening ceremony, like being able to travel like down the river and like hear other countries like screaming USA like on the bridges and things like that, like that was phenomenal. Like I'll never forget that. The rain sucked, but other than that, like it was cool. It was definitely like that was probably the top moment outside of like actually getting to compete.
I mean, the rain sucked for y'all.
Yeah.
It provided some pretty iconic photos.
Yeah, 100%.
Just like that one of LeBron with the flag. And like it literally looks like you guys are about to storm some beach.
They're like, I'm on the like USATF posted the picture, or no, maybe it was Team USA posted the picture. So I'm looking at the picture and like I'm seeing, you could just see my head like in the back. Like I could just tell it's me, but like the way that the boat was, like I'm like in the back. I'm trying not to get rained on. We're all there. Like, it's like me, Fred, and then the basketball players are obviously all at the front, and then it's like the WNBA girls, like we're all just like standing under the thing, not trying. And they're like cameras on that side. We didn't want to go on that side. We didn't care. It was too much rain. Yeah. People's phones, like Shelby's phone, like you had to go. We were in Paris. You had to go somewhere and get like a new phone because like their phones were getting messed up. I wouldn't stand in the rain like that.
Guys aren't used to that much rain. I was born in that weather. I know exactly how to react in that weather.
Yeah, I just want to like note the Steph thing. Steph is the most different athlete I've ever
Yeah,
been around.
it definitely like yeah.
We always had a metric when we would do our podcasts of just like how many security people and friends and all that stuff do you bring to the podcast?
Mhm.
And Steph was like, of course, he just like shows up by himself. No,
Yeah.
just no hubbub. He's just like the most normal guy. And I can always sort of tell how people are sort of based on how they treat crew members and stuff
Mhm.
like that. And Steph was like super engaged with the camera people and all that other stuff. So I think he's like that. He's like one of my favorite athletes.
Let's talk a little bit about the fashion, because I think the Team USA over the years has always looked
Yeah.
some of the best teams, right?
Yeah.
Ralph Lauren, the drip is, I mean, they got 2 previous podcast guests are actually at the Paralympics right now, and they
cool.
got their jackets and they were like over the moon, freaking out, like having a great time. But just that iconic, like that, seeing that giant USA on your back, right? Like it doesn't matter if it's the Winter Olympics or the Olympics or whatever. Like the drip has always been pretty good. So I'd love to hear you talk about.
I think
The clothing side of things.
I think the main thing that like everybody liked was the white polo jacket, like
Yeah.
the Ralph Lauren. Everybody
Still
wanted
have
that
it?
jacket. Yeah, I did give mine up. But you know, like we trade clothes. Like at the end, everyone's like, "Can I have?" I'm like, "You can't have
Trade
nothing."
clothes?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, so like
No.
the other countries,
Yeah.
because some of the countries
Oh,
have
like
like
jerseys
nice
and
stuff.
you trade. Yeah, okay.
Like
that
if
makes sense.
some of them will like want a jacket and they'll be like, "Well, I'll give you this and this for that." So, but I didn't want to trade anything. In my first team, I'm like, "No, I'm taking everything home."
Yeah.
I even brought my my comforter home. But I think that you could tell like
They gave you a Team USA comforter.
it says Paris 24 on it.
Nice.
Yeah, it says
Yeah,
like
I'll take-
Olympics.
yeah,
Paris
take
24.
everything. Take the
Took it-
soap,
took it
take
home.
the-
I mean, they're making you sleep on
Everything.
cardboard boxes.
My roommate told me
Take
to
whatever you want.
break the bed down and bring it home. I wouldn't do it. But,
It just folds up into it's cardboard
But,
box. It's fine.
no, the clothes are super nice. It sucks because I'm an Adidas athlete, so I can't wear Nike like the
Yeah.
USA stuff because it is nice. But they sent me like some care packages and stuff home, so I got some Adidas USA stuff. But I think the Ralph Lauren stuff is just like you don't understand like what it is until like you put it on. Because for me, like the opening ceremony, I put it on. I'm like, we got pants on with this jacket, like.
Yeah.
But then everyone's like, we get to like going and like the cameras like follow USA. They don't follow anybody else. So it was just like you start to realize like that's why our stuff is so nice because it's like we're on the boat and it's like when a minute from me and from the camera, it's like, okay, everybody get out. Like go outside, do this, do that. But I think like I don't know how we got so lucky to be Ralph Lauren, but that stuff is like it's super, super nice.
Can you ever wear the jacket?
I'll wear it, yeah. 100%.
Just out.
Yeah, I'm gonna wear it.
Yeah. That's sick.
They told me because my birthday was like last week, and we were gonna go out, and they told me to wear the jacket in the car. I wouldn't be too hot. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
But
Middle of August, not a good idea.
that stuff like they give you like so you go and like you don't really know where I didn't. I went in blind, so like I brought all my Adidas stuff, like my Adidas suitcase, my Adidas like shorts, clothes, shoes, socks,
Yeah.
because that's what I have to wear. Like so I get there and I walk in my room and I have these big Nike bags. And this Nike bag's bigger than I've ever seen. Like it's stacked. And you open one, it's got all like because they send your like jerseys with you. So like I brought my jerseys with me. I had a Nike suitcase from them. So I go there with 2. Got my Adidas bag, I got my Nike bag. I walk in, there's 2 big Nike suitcases. I open one, there's a bunch of like gear in there. The other one's Ralph Lauren, Skims. Like you have all types of stuff in the bag. And it's like, it's still at the house. I haven't even opened it all.
Yeah.
Like I have not went through my Skims. I've not went through all the Ralph Lauren. Like it's just so much stuff. It's almost overwhelming. So like they brought like Delta to the village to check us out like a day before.
That was my next question. Like, how do you get it all back?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you have all these
put 'em on
athletes
the
with extra
buses.
bags.
That's
We
amazing.
threw them on the buses and they took them up there. So like whenever we came home, like all I had to do was go to the airport and walk through. And they took us to like a private
that's
entrance.
sick.
We just walked through and went straight like where we needed to go. But thank God, because I had like 5 bags. And I get to Oklahoma City and they got like the little bag carts.
Cart.
Yeah.
And it's like $6. And of course, I don't have any cash. I just got back from Europe. I don't have any cash on me. So I'm over here like lugging like bags back and forth outside. But I got lucky. I just tied them together and just dragged them. But
The did you take in any events? Any favorites?
I think swimming was probably the most interesting one. But also like if that was Simone Biles like last final, got to see that like
Nice.
live.
That's cool.
So like that was definitely something that I'll never forget. Watched a little bit of boxing, skateboarding.
She's tiny too, right?
So I
Like
met
in
her, and I
person?
mean, she is like little. her and Jordan. I think it's Jordan Childs is her
Uh-huh.
name. I met both of them.
Because
and they were,
TV
like,
makes you look a lot bigger than you are
Yeah.
always, right?
Right.
Other, you know.
they were
But yeah,
they weren't they weren't at all like little. Like they were
it's
little.
so impressive what she does.
Yeah.
But they all do.
Yeah.
Like that
It
is.
was crazy. But you walk around the village and it's like you start to like see them and you're like, oh shit, like that's them.
Yeah.
And it's like soccer came to the village and like this is before closing ceremony and it's like a couple of us are like in like the track like medical room. There's like a bunch of girls in the back and we're like not having any idea who these girls are. And then all of a sudden they're like soccer, so faces start to match. And I'm like, oh, like they're like, oh yeah, we don't get to stay in the village because they were playing so far.
Right.
But it's just like, so you get to meet everybody like at the end, and it's just like but like the people that don't get to stay in the village are like so grateful to be in the village. Like they want to be there. I don't know if they slept on the cardboard beds, I'm sure they would have changed
a
their minds.
little different
but,
attitude towards that.
But like just being in the village is cool for them, I guess. But you know, like Simone is so famous, kind of like LeBron and them. Like it's gonna be hard for them to be in the village. I know, like I seen Wemby and like Gilbert, is that his name?
Gobert.
Gobert, yeah.
Yeah.
Seen those two and like they're just walking normal. I'm sure they weren't staying in the village either, but I seen them like going in the calf at one point and I was like, he is tall as hell. Like,
Yeah.
But other than that, like you don't really see like a lot of like the big names in the village.
Yeah. You said to me on the live that we did on Sunday that the food wasn't very good.
No.
It's kind of, I was just like, really? Like you get the best athletes in the world all descending on one city and they can't figure your food out.
I think as a collective, like there was a little like Asian like place like in the back. There was all like types of like different like food cultures that you could eat, and we were all at the Asian spot in the back because they had like skewers, like chicken skewers, steak
right.
skewers. So that and rice, that's what we were eating. And then I told you the chocolate muffins, they were talking about that up and down. I was taking them left and right. I was eating them things like crazy. And then we had ice cream like places. So we had like, they had some type of sherbet, like frozen ice cream, and I was eating like 3 a day. Like I was eating one every day. And then we had like burgers and like coffee and stuff like that. But the burgers were not American burgers. I think whenever you come home, it's just like you're dying to have like all the bad stuff they put in our food. You're dying for it.
you get
the meat over there is just not the same.
It was not good. The best meal I had is we went to like a steakhouse for one of the athletes' birthday, and I had like a steak, and that was probably the best meal I had the whole time. I mean, pizza was good off the village, pasta was good off the village, but on the village, I ate there like the first 2 days, and I was like, yeah, I'm done. But that's most of the time when I go to Europe. That's what I do. Like McDonald's in Europe. 10 out of 10.
Yes.
10 out of 10.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a mental thing for me, but I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Really, a lot of the fast food.
Yeah,
I'm kind of
any
like
of them.
Royale with cheese, right?
Exactly.
Royale with
Nando's
cheese.
is my.
Nando's.
yeah.
Nando's is where it's at.
So I
Peri-peri
base
chicken,
I
cheeky
base in
Nando's.
London whenever I'm in Europe. If like I have a meet somewhere else, I base in London. So like Nando's all the time.
It's like I remember I worked out there, and one of my coworkers was like, they have this thing called free refills. And I was like, yeah, I've heard of it. I don't know if you've seen our people, but we've
have
heard
you seen
of
the
free
buckets that we get
refills.
to have fill up our drinks with? Right?
I know.
A
I feel
gallon
like
of
if they ever walked into a
Mountain
quick
Dew.
trip, they would lose their minds.
I think something that like threw me off with Europe is like asking for like a to-go box.
Yeah,
They like look at you crazy.
they don't do that.
Look at you crazy. And we get to my mom has never been to Europe, so like we get to like we go to a pizza place in Paris, and she's like, they have ranch. Like, I'll ask where he already know what he's about to say. I look at him like, can I get some ranch? He looked at me crazy. And I said, they're not going to give you that here. Even if they have it, they're not giving it to you. Not for some pizza.
They, same coworker, actually, we went out, and they had brown sauce on the table, and I was like, what kind of shady ass thing is brown sauce? And he goes, mate, what's ranch? And I was like, good point. I stand corrected.
Yeah, HP brown sauce on bacon sandwiches.
There you go.
Malt vinegar.
That's what I miss from back home.
Malt
Miss Greg's
vinegar on-
Bakery in the UK.
Yeah.
Greg's is like a pastry place, like a chain, but it's the best. And then a proper bacon sandwich is what I miss from back home.
Sorry,
The
man.
best. I know. It's fine. It's worth being here.
I will
for
say,
those
like,
two things.
traveling like in Europe, when I got to London, like I went to like Austria.
Mhm.
for a meet, and like I open the thing, and like we're like, I don't even know, there's like 20 of us, 30, we'll say 30. We open the thing, and like we're all looking at it. We're all from different places, but granted, there's like 15 Americans there. Me and my girlfriend, like we open it, we see fish heads and stuff floating. Put that thing on there. We looked up McDonald's. It was like a mile down the road. We walked like 30 deep to McDonald's at like, it was like 12 a.m. We stayed, and you get beer
Yeah.
in McDonald's in
Yeah.
Europe. So
Yeah.
we're all in there like eating McDonald's for like, we're in there like 3 a.m. just drinking beer and eating.
Oh, if you ever want to go people watch, people over here go to the state fair to people watch. You want to go to a McDonald's at like 4 a.m, you will see some characters back home. That's the best place.
Great.
That and the kebab shops.
McDonald's
But-
needs to invest in beer in America, 100%.
Some of the
Love to
Taco
see it.
Bells,
Yeah,
I believe in Vegas, have margaritas.
No.
that makes
fact.
sense. Yeah.
I tried
So-
Taco Bell in Japan.
How was that?
Never do it again.
Why? What was wrong with it?
It just wasn't like, it was different. Like it was actually different. Like I got like a burrito that was good, but like I tried like some chicken thing, like some chicken burrito or something. That was good.
Not the same.
That was good. And the sauce, like the mild sauce was not mild sauce. I don't know what they had going on.
Yeah.
Would never do that again. McDonald's was good though.
This is as you travel, like this is the content we need. This
Yeah.
is
These things.
taste tests at
Yeah.
fast food places around the world.
I put my phone up for my roommate. I was like, he said, let me see what it's talking about. Nope, not again. Never again. And they got like these fluffy pancakes. They were like 30 cents. It was cheap. It was so cheap over there. Like a bowl of pho, $3.
Mhm.
Come to America, $24. I was eating that pho every day.
That's right, baby.
Every day.
You like your pho, don't you?
No.
No?
You don't.
Thought you like your ramen and your pho.
No.
No.
There's a place
Especially in the
over here.
summer. I don't like it in the summer.
That's fair.
I will do
It's
it.
a winter.
It's a winter
it's a
thing,
winter
and I'll do it occasionally. But now, you know me, I'm a taco man.
I
I'll have a
was gonna
taco
say
every
tacos.
single
I
day.
love
Yeah, if you have
Mexican
any
food.
taco racks in Oklahoma City, Jason's got all of them.
You need to try Tequila Sanchez. It's on 10th. It's
Yeah,
a blue
been.
taco.
Oh,
Is
I've
that
been.
the new place that you?
Yeah.
Okay, we
That
haven't
place
been yet.
rips.
I
Yeah.
love that place.
Yeah.
Anytime you
That
want
must
to go,
be the
bro.
hardest thing being an athlete and being trying to prep, and you'd be like, yeah, but this food is so good.
So like now, I think for any track athlete or any athlete in general, like when you get done, like I just want greasy food
You
and
just
beer.
pig out.
That's it for at least a month, and then I'm back to water and salads or whatever. But I'm
beer
just,
at McDonald's.
Beer
I've been eating
McDonald's.
anything I want lately.
Yeah.
I have to.
Good
though.
for you.
So how, like, looking back on everything, looking back at the Olympics, you've had some time to kind of decompress and like look at the experience. What kind of stands out for you? Obviously, you mentioned other countries shouting, other fans, people from other countries shouting USA was a moment, but just looking back and kind of how you analyze it and move forward.
I think the biggest thing is just like how like engaged. Like you don't, for me, it never sunk in. And like that's what I would tell people, like the interviews I did before, I was like, oh, I haven't like realized yet. And I think like when I was putting my like opening ceremony jacket on and like I walked outside and I seen like all the teams just lined down the street, it was like, oh shit, like I'm actually here. And that was like the first like real like exciting moment that you get with the Olympics. And then you get there, and I think I got to meet the basketball players on the boat, and obviously that was fun and stuff. But whenever we got like down towards the Eiffel Tower and the tower lit up, it was like as soon as America came up, it lit up like red, white, and blue, and then it like sparkled. And I think that was just like, oh shit, like I'm here, and I was ready. Like I could have jumped right then and there, like right there. But I just think like just the engagement of like the crowd too. Like I mentioned earlier, the rhythm. So like when I clapped, they call my name up, and I'm like, walk over there, and I don't get nervous, and I have like a pit in my stomach because the stadium is packed. And I mean, I've been in packed stadiums, but
Yeah.
I think what does it for me is when you clap, most of the time, just the section where high jump is
Yeah.
claps. I clapped and the whole stadium.
Do you do
started
the whole
clapping.
over the hand
Yeah, I
Viking clap
scream.
type
I
thing?
scream and start
Yeah.
clapping, and everybody starts clapping with me, and I just sit there and I clap with them for a second. But when I did it, it's like the whole stadium clapped. And my best friend and my coach are like, "What the hell is he doing?" Because I turned around and just took off. I didn't even do what I normally do. I just turned around and started running. But I think like that's the moment I was like, and then I jumped and I didn't make it. And I walked over to my coach. I was like, "Okay, I'm good now. Like I know what to
You had
expect
to
now."
get that out the
Yeah.
way.
Right.
But it was just like that was like the oh shit moment. Like, oh shit, I'm here. I think just I'll never forget how loud that was. It was like being in an NFL stadium. Like, it was crazy. Because, here people don't like know much about track.
Yeah.
But there it's like, it was too many people in there.
So awesome.
Yeah, no.
Hair standing up on the back of your neck. You're representing your country. Like,
Yeah.
Dude, as a
Doesn't get
home
much better.
spectator, I'm like on my feet watching,
Was it the 1500 you were yelling at the
1500
TV
is
for?
where I like literally like went out and ran 3 miles. Like literally the guy won and I was like,
I'm ready.
and I went out and like sprinted the first mile and the second 2 were just the worst. It was like 103 outside too. Horrible decision.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what it does, though. That's
No,
what
it's what it
sport
does to
and
you.
what,
Yeah,
like, your
it's
country
sick.
playing does to you.
So we have like a Team USA room at the Olympic Village.
Yeah.
And the 100's going on. Noah Lyles and Fred Curley are running. And there's a video of us like doing it. Like, we're silent. We're just, as soon as the gun blasts, we're all in there just screaming, jumping around. Like, you could tell, like, we love track. Like, but even coming into college, like, or high school, I would jump and go home. I'm not watching the rest of the track meet. It was dreadful to stay at a full track meet, but now it's like I love it.
Yeah.
Except for like steeplechase. No offense, but like I can't. Or like the 15 laps or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
That's a long day.
I can't.
It's tough.
Is that the 5,000?
Some of the sports I don't.
3,000,
Yeah.
The last 2 laps though, you got me.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
But the first 50, no, I'm good.
Well, it's what's crazy to me is how fast they run those last 2 laps. So
Yeah.
after they've done, they've kind of reserved it in the tank, and then they just and
Yeah.
it's just I'm going to give you everything I have. Just
The,
empty the tank.
The men's basketball final that was and the semifinal were as cool as a basketball game I've ever watched.
Steph's 3 at the end.
Just all of it. It was just like again, is there something about the representing the country thing and how much was on the line for France too. I mean, it was just such a cool game. It was awesome.
I think once you put the jersey on, like there's like that pride that comes over you.
Yeah.
Because you don't really think about like competing for your country until you literally are wearing it. And it's just like, I'll never forget the first time I did it in Budapest, it was just like, you just think about like you have so many people back home that you don't even know are probably watching you and just repping you. Like they don't even know you, but they'll see the USA and now they're cheering for you. So, and I'll never forget, like you get on Instagram and stuff after and it's just like you have so many DMs of like, I don't know you, but like we were rooting for you. Like you were so fun to watch. It's just things like that. And it's things like that you can't take for granted. I know, especially for me, like being from Oklahoma, I have so many kids that'll reach out and like, so I just try to give them the best show I can possibly give them.
So cool.
Sick.
Yeah, I mean, we could sit here and talk for hours, and we could no doubt about sports. You talk about Oklahoma and just kind of having, the kids that look up to you, right, and thinking about, the coach that had such a great impact on you, and maybe someday, you'll have that impact on someone, and however your career goes, wherever your career takes you, like. No one's ever going to take away the fact that you're an Olympian now.
100%.
And how you progress on from that. I mean, what do you think? What do you like? Obviously, you're in the off season now. You're going into next season. Let's finish up with just what next year plan is to look like, and where you want to. I mean, we have 4 years until LA.
Yeah.
Right. So what is your life? Like you said earlier, you got stuff to do between now and LA.
Yeah. So like we have Worlds next year in Tokyo, and I mean it's basically the Olympics. It's just in Tokyo. It's just called Worlds now. Just focus on that. But I think for me, it's just like, I'm one of the young faces. Like, I'm one of the younger guys, like, on the circuit. And I think just finally, like, that's my first real season. Like, that's my real, like, rookie season was this year. And I think now it's just, like, just beating those guys. Just moving up in the rankings, like, being where I should be. Because I was 15th, 16th this year, like, in the world. And I didn't jump good at all. So it's just like being prepared for the times when I'm against because I see those guys every meet now, or majority of them. So it's just like showing up like ready, because I don't want to keep like messing with them and playing with them. Like it's just like I know that I'm better than you, and it's like it just needs to be that simple. Like every time now, it shouldn't be like no starstruck. Like I don't care if you've jumped 7'10" or 7'11". Like it's just time to start like being who I am and who I've been. So I think that's my like biggest goal for next season is just being who I am.
Love that. Let's finish with a favorite Oklahoma question. You mentioned Brahms in a previous interview.
Yeah.
What's the go-to at Brahms?
A banana split or a bag of burgers. It's the best thing I got on the menu. You got to add some cheese to the burger bag, the bag of burgers though.
Yeah. You're
Every
from
time.
Dallas. You probably haven't gone on the Brahms. Well, you went to OBU, so you're long enough.
I'm still not a big Brahms guy. My son is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the first time I heard bag of burgers, I had to say, what now? What? You did what now? I can't imagine what you thought was bag of burgers.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, every time if I say bag of burgers, they don't understand me. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'll take a number, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, sick, man. I appreciate you coming in. Appreciate you spending some time with us.
Yeah.
Great stories. Congratulations again. This is, something that, like you just said, you got your first one out of the way now, just like that first run at the Olympics. And, you got you know what to expect, and you stay within yourself next year and just be you. I think, pumped to watch you, follow, have a reason to follow high jump now around the world. Like, it's not something I focused on at all, but now meeting you and knowing a lot more context, excited about checking that out. And yeah, man, Jason, thanks for coming in. Appreciate your Fosbury flop question.
I'm
glad I gave you the
very
opportunity to
passionate
ask
about
that.
the subject. Yeah, he's a king. Yeah, appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
Awesome.
thank you for having me.
Yeah. For everyone listening, we'll catch you next episode. Cheers.
Cool. Hold on. Keep recording. Bonus content.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you a story about how I got a concussion.
How you got a concussion?
Yeah,
When?
yeah. In high school.
Okay.
Because again, I was in track, and all my closest friends were in track, much better than me. But whatever. So high jump though was a big thing for us because the best of us was a high jumper.
Yeah.
And so I had this bedroom, and it's literally, you walk in and the bed is just center of the room.
Mm-hmm.
And it was upstairs. And every time I grabbed a snack or anything, I would always kind of high jump into the bed. Almost every time. And one time I just like mistimed it like stupidly and banged my head on the back of trying to just do the dumbest, most casual high jump thing into my bed. And I got a concussion.
How old are you doing this?
Oh, I mean, I must have been sophomore, junior year. I don't remember, 15, 16, something like that. Yeah. Pretty embarrassing stuff. So it's the only known concussion I had.
You ever
I'm
had any
sure I
bad,
had
dumb
more.
stories happen to you like that?
Dumb high jump stories
Dumb
into
high-
your bed?
Not in my bed, but
Like playing
unfortunately not in
basketball
my
in your
bed.
bedroom with a toy, on the back of the door.
It was awful.
Middle school, I was high jumping, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I came up, went to jump, and I took the whole standard out. The thing that holds the bar, the metal thing, I landed all on it. I was done. I was done with high jump for a day.
Like, I'm
I wouldn't do
retired.
I
nothing.
can't do this. I'm done.
But then, like, when I got better at high jump in high school, like, the mats were so small, so I would jump and I'd land on the ground. Like, I would jump and I'd land on the ground.
Oh my god.
So I jumped like 6'8" and land on the ground.
That's crazy.
Till they started like dragging the mat to the left side.
Jeez.
That was it. I just promised I would share that story with you.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, for everyone listening and watching, we'll put Vernon's social media down in the description. Go follow him. Keep in touch. And yeah, man, look forward to watching you crush it next year. Safe travels.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Hope you guys enjoyed that great episode. Thank you so much for listening. As always, huge shout out to our sponsors, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, sharing Oklahoma story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com and follow them on Instagram for daily updates at OklahomaHOF. Our other sponsor, the Chickasaw Nation, amazing sponsor. They do amazing things for the state, and they're always sponsoring something in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and without their support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And our third sponsor is Diffie Ford Lincoln down in El Reno. Now, this one makes me so happy because these guys are great friends of mine, play a lot of golf together. I've bought my cars from them, do most of my oil changes down there, have a cup of coffee, hang out down in El Reno. It's a good spot to go. And not only are they great friends, but they provide a great service. So for over 60 years, third generation family owned Oklahoma business down in El Reno. They're also in Bethany as well. So people in the Bethany area know the Diffies really well. But if you're looking for anything new, used, Ford, Lincoln, or whatever, I'm sure they could find anything you want. Check them out, diffieford.net, and then on Instagram at diffiefordlincoln. This episode is brought to you by the Doghouse OKC. Recently, I have been in need of some doggy daycare for my two pups, and the Doghouse have come in clutch. The team over there are incredible. They've taken care of my two golden doodles, and so it's been an honor to partner with them on the podcast and share the love. And the one thing that I do with the sponsors that I have is stuff that I use and recommend, like the Diffies with my car. Hall of Fame. They're awesome. Citizens Banks, where I bank. Chickasaw Nation, huge supporter of Oklahoma. And adding to that is the doghouse. And so if you're in need of doggy daycare in the day or boarding overnight, they do grooming and other cool things too. But I've had a fantastic experience, and it's an honor and a privilege to share this with you too. So go to thedogHouseOKC.com and follow them on Instagram at thedogHouseOKC. And hopefully our pups will run into each other. This episode is brought to you by the Oklahoma State Treasurer Unclaimed Property Division. Oklahoma has more than $1 billion of unclaimed property. Reclaim what's rightfully yours. Visit YourMoney.ok.gov and enter your name to find out if you have lost money from utility deposits, uncashed checks, life insurance policies, or more. If you've got a minute, search for free and visit YourMoney.ok.gov.
Dust the red dirt off your boots and get all your rowdy friends together. Born and Raised Music Festival is back for one hell of a weekend. September 13th through 15th, 2024 in Pryor, Oklahoma. Featuring Cody Johnson, Hank Williams Jr.,
Rowdy friends are coming over tonight.
Cole Wetzel, plus Midland, Dwight Yoakam, the Red Clay Strays, and many more. Weekend, single day, and camping passes on sale now at bornandraisedfestival.com.
Thank you for listening. We are inspired by those around us and hope that you are too. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review so we can keep telling your stories. For more great Oklahoma content, follow This Is Oklahoma on Facebook and Instagram.